What is up, you guys? Today we're going to be going over AMD number one because this is a company that I actually have a long-term price target on. We're going to go over what my price target is as we look at my watch list, why I think it's a great price at that level. We're going to talk about the massive break of the 200 SMA for AMD over here on the weekly chart. And we're also going to talk about some unusual options activity, which I want to go over, even though this is more of like a long-term investing look at AMD. I want to go over these because it is a highly unusual flow that has been hitting for next week. So might be a trade there. But ultimately, I want to look at this from like a long-term perspective, where I plan to enter and why the snap of this 200 SMA is so important. So hit the like button, subscribe, check out our Discord community down below. Link is in the description. You guys get access to free courses, free live streams, free seminars, free webinars. All my long-term investments are over there within the long-term chat section. And you also can get upgraded. So for $1 a day, you'll get access to all the unusual flows, which we'll talk about today, as well as all of my trades. Today, or actually not today, this week, I am currently up and closed nearly $7,600 in profits. I'm currently holding a Tesla loss of about 2 G's. So unless Tesla closes above, I think it's 227 by today, I'll end up losing another 2 grand. So it'll be about 5 grand for the week. But go ahead and check it out. Link in the description. And like I said, there's tons of free features over there you can take advantage of, even if you don't want to upgrade. So looking at AMD, this is a company I was invested in a very, very, very long time ago. I was buying AMD back in 2016, 2017, all the way down here around $3 to $7. I had since then closed AMD when we tapped up around $31. I made very, very good return off of it and just never got back in because I felt that the company was a solid company, but I always felt that it was just too overvalued for me to enter into a position. And this is something that happens a lot, and I say that on this channel. There are a lot of phenomenal companies out there that I would invest in, but they're just not at the right financial valuation for me. There are a lot of companies that are great, but there's a lot of companies that are overvalued, and I think we're seeing that with AMD now. AMD hit $160 here back in November of 2021, and so far AMD is down 62% in the past 11 months. And I do think there is a chance AMD could drop back down to the 40s, which is that target that I'm currently putting out now to grab long term. So there are a lot of great companies, but they can still be overvalued. And that's something you have to think about as a long-term investor. I currently think that AMD is fairly valued right here around $70. But for me, I don't want to buy a company at fair value. I want to buy a company for 50% fair value in order for me to be tying up my money, simply because if not, I can just sell cash secure puts and make about 50% return per year. Until you get up into like the $2-3 million portfolio size where you just don't have enough volume, for you to move your contracts around. And that's where I would start looking at maybe just throwing some money in some long-term investments. But I do have a couple of long-term investments, and I want to start another one in AMD. Now, the price I have to enter AMD long-term is $40.16. This is because running off of very conservative numbers for the next 10 years based off of growth, based off of EPS, based off of what their PE ratio would be, looking at their free cash flow, looking at their profit margins, $40 would be a very, very, very attractive price. And you can see that looking at the bigger time frame, if we snap this $60 support, which is this big heat map support here, this is a very, 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 very big support. If we snap this, we are most likely going to drop down to $30. And my price is $40. So I think that if we snap this, we can move to 40 and 30. Now, a lot of you guys are probably going to start freaking out within the comment section, like, oh my God, how this guy's so stupid. He thinks it's going to go to $30. I'm not saying I think it will. I'm just saying that shit happens, man. I mean, if you look, and you would have said back in the beginning of this year that, we would see a 70% drop on AMD, you would have thought I was nuts. But shit happens. And so looking at AMD, we have this major big support, but if we break this, guys, there's no real volume sub these levels. There's really nothing crazy. So we will drop down to that $40 price point. And if you're looking at the weekly chart as well, the RSI is not even oversold, right? Stock's down 60%, 66% in 10 months, and the RSI is not even oversold. So we still have a lot lower to go if we snap this range. But I do think that if you are somebody who doesn't care about getting the best price on AMD, this is a phenomenal price long term. And so what I'm going to start doing is selling cash secured puts on AMD. And I currently have a very small cash secured put on AMD. And this is just more of a trade. But what I will personally be looking at is AMD looking at puts, and I'm going to be looking at probably towards the end of the year. So December 16th, there's 70 days till expiration, and I want to start buying around $50 to $45. Now, this is what I like to do for a long-term investment. So instead of just buying the shares outright, what I like to do is sell a cash secured put. If you don't know what cash secured puts are, just go to YouTube, type in Peter DeCarlo, and just look up cash secured put, and I'll be the first video. But basically, a cash secured put's going to tie up your money, but it's going to set a limit order essentially. And if the stock closes under that price, you will buy it at that price, just like a limit order. And if the stock doesn't, then you will make some money off of your premiums. So the ones that I would be looking at this very moment would probably be the 45s or the 40s. Now, the reason I say the 45s is that it has what I'm looking for, which is volume. So open interest is 1,180, which is decent. Volume today is 660. That's because the stock is down significantly. You can see OTM percentage. This means what's the percentage of this closing out of the money, or what is the position of, or what's the percentage of us making money? It's a 78% chance of profit. And you can see that the bid is 142, the ask is 144. So if we were to sell this cash secured put, as long as AMD closes above $45 by December 16th, we will end up making $142. You can see this right here, 142 bucks at the bottom, which means that AMD could actually drop another 25% and we will still make money. Now, AMD could pop and we would still make money. AMD could sit sideways and we would still make money. But the beauty is, if it drops down to $40, we get to make the $120 profit and we get to buy AMD at $45. Obviously, you're not looking at huge percentage returns here. We're tying up $4,500 to make $140 within 70 days. That's not what we're really looking at. We're not trying to make a ton of cash off of this. We're just looking to know that in the meantime, we will make money. And if AMD drops those prices, then we'll be doing a little bit better. Now, if you're somebody who's a little bit more aggressive and you're like, hey, I would pay $55 for AMD instead of $45. Well, you could sell this. And then with this one, you would end up making $400 in the next 7 days, which is a pretty decent return. We're tying up $5,500 and you would make about $400 as long as it closes above 55 bucks, which is about an 8.5% return within 70 days with about a 59% chance of profit. But if you think about it, with the 45 puts, you're still making about a 3% return with an 80% chance of profit, and you get to buy it if it drops down to those lows. So for me, I think AMD is a phenomenal long-term buy here, but I wanted it like 40 bucks. I needed a really good price. Let me know in the comments. Oh, before we get off, so one thing I want to talk about too is this unusual options activity on AMD. We've seen a lot of this come through today. This is just today, and they're all hitting these 10, 14, $63 calls. Now, AMD is down massive today. I think AMD is down about 12% right now, but it looks like they're buying up these calls. I ended up entering some put credit spreads on AMD, but see if we can get this push up. If not, it's whatever, but I figured it's something I would throw in at the end of the video to keep an eye on and see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Let me know if you're buying AMD long term and what your price target is. Thanks for all the support, guys. Peace.